And we are live. Welcome, guys, to today's session. And thank you very much for joining. I see a few of you in the chat already. And Thomas is joining us from Sellics. I'm excited to share with you his updates and what he's working on. As you guys are aware, he also runs a Sellics Benchmarker, which is a totally free tool. And they're just continually updating that, making it better, making it easier to understand PPC. So Thomas, big welcome. If you want to give a quick intro, just let people know who you are.
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you so much, Dan, for inviting me. A real pleasure to be here with you. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Thomas. I am the CMO of Sellics. Sellics is one of the biggest Amazon advertising companies in the world. And I myself have been in advertising for more than 15 years, almost 10 years at Google, and then focused pretty much on Amazon. Had my own FBA business 10 years ago. And we'll talk today with you guys about PPC.
Excellent. And in the chat, guys, let me know if Thomas's video is jumping, because on my side, it is jumping up and down a bit, but it might just be on my end. So please let me know in the chat. But Thomas, in 2 sentences, what will viewers gain by the end of this video?
I think what people gain in this video is actually an incredible, innovative, and new way to look at Amazon PPC. I think all of you have seen countless of different PPC softwares out there, which all try to do more or less the same thing. And again, I've been in this space for more than 15 years. And what we try to do with the benchmarker is to have a very, very different approach of how to approach PPC. And that's what we'll talk about, right? So getting a very, very new way of how to get your Amazon PPC business to the next level.
Awesome. And then specifically, what is the benchmarker and why did you create it?
Yeah, I mean, when I say that, I did this for 15 years, I basically mean that I optimized accounts for almost 15 years, which basically is a lot of time, right? So it's a lot of time, it's a lot of hours, a lot of weeks. In fact, I think I probably spent almost 2-3 years of my lifetime just going into different accounts, analyzing data back and forth and trying to get the most out of it. And what we try to do with the benchmarker is that no one else needs to do exactly this. So no one needs to repeat the time that I invested in that, because what we try to do, we try to give you the insights that normally take days or weeks or months, or even not possible, in seconds. And this in a very, very innovative and fast way. So if you run the benchmarker, you will see directly where are your biggest opportunities, how do you perform versus the market, and what should you really focus on.
So Thomas, if I'm going to use a benchmarker, one of the biggest questions I have is, where is the data from? What am I being benchmarked against? So could you explain where it is you get that data from and, the accuracy of it?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? And I think, we'll jump in a second in the benchmarker itself. But one of the most important things when we compare any performance versus any benchmark is, as you say, Dan, the quality of the data, right? Because if you just have a random benchmark, then, it's great to compare it, but it doesn't get you anything. So what we are doing here, we have one of the biggest Amazon PPC databases in the world. So what we essentially did, we looked at $2.5 billion of ad revenue of last year, right? So that's a huge amount of money that has been generated on Amazon across 170,000 products across 8 marketplaces. So it's pretty much the biggest or one of the biggest data sets that exists out there. We aggregated all of this data, we anonymized it, we throw in a couple of data scientists on it, a couple of PPC experts on it, and we basically said, we really want to understand, based on this big data set, what is really good and what is really bad for any given metric. Because one of the biggest problems that everyone has on Amazon PPC is to really understand, am I doing good? Am I doing bad? And good benchmarks are the best way for this. And that was the goal. And again, the data set, I think, really enabled us to go incredibly deep and also being incredibly accurate on all of the metrics that you will see in the benchmarker.
And recently I was helping you with a tutorial for part of your benchmarker. And one thing I have to say is you guys have done an excellent job at kind of bringing the pieces of PPC together in the easiest possible way. Like, I don't think you can fit everything in and represent it in this way, any way, any more easily for someone to view and understand. So, but I think better is if you show us. So could you show us the benchmarker, but then focus on the performance funnel to start and how this makes PPC easy for sellers?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me share my screen then. So let's do this and let's jump in here. You guys see my screen?
Yes, there we go.
Perfect. Yeah, so one of the biggest and also one of the, let's say, most difficult challenges next of actually having the benchmarks available, right? So having the right data available is to think about how can we show now the insights and the performance in a very, very nice, innovative, and easy, simple way to understand. Because one of the biggest problems for Amazon sellers out there is that most of them are actually not PPC marketers. So they have not optimized accounts for 10, 15, 20 years. So really making all these insights as simple and easy as possible that everyone can really focus on what's the big things that really matter in order to grow sales or improve profitability was a big challenge. And what you see here at the top is one of the big takes that we actually did within the benchmarker. So it's one of the top sections. The benchmarker has many different areas that we'll touch on in a second. But what you will see at the top, and I will just probably switch this off for a second, is the so-called performance funnel, which is on the left side. The summary of the traditional performance funnel in Amazon PPC. So it goes from impressions to clicks to orders. So these are basically the 3 volume metrics which you will achieve in Amazon PPC. And you have the 2 performance metrics. So you have the click-through rate, which is basically the likelihood that someone clicks on your ad. And you have the conversion rate, which is basically the likelihood that someone that sees your product also buys your product. So these 5 KPIs are essentially the performance funnel. So it's a very, very important concept in Amazon PPC. And here you can see the logical connections between these 5 KPIs. And the second most important framework, right, or let's say concept that you will normally apply in Amazon PPC is the return on investment. And that's basically what you see here on the right side. So ACoS, which is ad spend over ad sales. And in other words, ACoS means how much, right? How many cents do you need to invest in order to generate $1? So in this case, 26 cents, and you will generate $1. Or another way to look at it, it's how much commission do you need to pay to Amazon for any dollar which you will generate on Amazon, right? So in this case, 26%. Now, these 2 frameworks are generally very popular and many people use them, but they don't know how they really connect. And this is where the last 2 KPIs, these 2, actually come into play. Because the connection of the performance funnel, the performance advertising funnel on the one side, and the return on investment formula on the other side is on the one side via CPC, so your cost per click. So basically your clicks time your cost per click lead to ad spend, and your orders times your average order value. So that's basically the average value that you generate in any given order on Amazon lead to your ad sales. And with that view, you have now all the 10 KPIs that actually really matter in Amazon PPC. If you understand these KPIs, so what is good, what is bad, and how are things evolving or developing, you actually mastered already 95% of the deal.
Yeah, I love this. And if you guys, I think you explained it well, but if you guys look over here, yeah, if I point this way, you can see impressions. And so this is really where the customer starts. This is where they see your product. This is where your ad is visible. And then it moves down, as you can see, do they click or not? Then once they're on the listing, do they order or not? And then obviously all of that then rides into your ROI. But I just love how this is broken down with all those KPIs. And as you say, and I agree with that, if you know this little graph, and this is free, it's a free tool, then you literally don't need to know anything else about PPC. So really good job on this. This is the best graphical explanation I've seen on this for sure. And then Thomas, say I want to see data for my specific products though. So this is a really good overview, but say I find a problem here. Maybe my cost per click's gone up from last month, which is something you could show in the month over month. But say that happens and I want to check, okay, which specific products do I have a problem with? Can you explain the product analysis section below as well, and how you could perhaps go from this view, maybe a month over month, into looking at where that problem resides in the individual products?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? So let me actually show you guys the two main use cases here and how they actually connect with the product analysis table, which you will see here below. So the most common problem, right, that you might face as soon as you start doing PPC, or if you already optimize PPC on an ongoing basis, is to really understand how things are evolving. And you normally will always look at ACoS, so what happened with your profitability, or you will look at ad sales. Did your sales go up or down? And in the past, it always has been incredibly difficult, right, to really understand why did your ACoS change, or why did your ad sales went up or down. And now with this view, right, it's easy, like as easy as it can be, to really understand why something happened. Why? Because you can just go back, right? So you'll see here the ACoS dropped or increased, right? Increased by 20%, which is bad because a higher ACoS is bad. And now we would like to understand why. Well, we spent more, 11%. Why did we spend more? Because our CPCs increased by 90%, right? So you can very quickly see in a very simple way for any given scenario, in fact, you can just go back through the chain and understand exactly why did your ACoS, your ad sales change. So that's this one very, very powerful use case, which back in my 15 years of life would already have saved me literally months and months and months of lifetime. But the second big thing, and this is what I think is very important before you jump to the product analysis table, is to actually understand, is this good or bad? Because we have now these metrics here, right? So you have a click-through rate, let's say, of 0.2%. You have a conversion rate of 9%. You have a CPC of $1.10, and you have an ACoS of 26%. And what most sellers are not aware is this good or bad, right? Is this click-through rate actually good or bad? Is this conversion rate actually good or bad? And why does it matter? Because only if you understand if these metrics are good or bad, you know where you should focus on. There are plenty of things you can do in your Amazon business. But in order to really, really understand where you have the big potential and the big levers for growth, you need to understand where you're good, where you're bad. And this is now the moment where the benchmarker comes into play, because these metrics just by itself will never tell you if they're good or bad. If you want to understand if you're good or bad, you go to the product analysis section, which is directly below. And what you will see here are all of your products. So as soon as you run the report, you will see all of your products. You will see the metrics that I just mentioned. So ACoS, conversion rate, click-through rate, and CPC. And for each of these metrics, you will see in a very simple way, is it actually good or bad? And how do we do this? We do this by benchmarking your performance versus other products in the same category, so that you more or less understand, are you actually performing well? So for example, right, let's take this first product here. We see there's red, orange, red. So we see here there's lots of red. Let's jump into conversion rate. We just go with the mouse over it. And we will see here that with this product, this is just sample data, by the way, right? So this product doesn't exist, but you will see this obviously for your products. And for this, product, 3.6% conversion rate is red. Why? Because it's below the median of 5.6%, which is the middle here. What is the median? The median is the exact middle in that product category of conversion rates. So 50% of products have a worse conversion rate, which is lower, and 50% have a better conversion rate, which is better. So if you have 3.6% and the middle is 5.6, it basically means that you are worse. And if you want to understand with which products we compare you, you just need to look at this tree here, because this tree here tells you exactly the tree that has been applied to get your benchmarks. So the last name here, so the last category name, in this case, it's the second hierarchy level on Amazon, carriers and travel products. This is the one that we use for your benchmarks. And this is the one where you basically benchmark you against.
Okay, and then we've now looked at the overall account, a very good snapshot. We can move down into, and whether or not that's good or bad, and we can look at individual products. And then next, could you explain the account structure benchmarking area below this, and how sellers can evaluate their performance based on this part?
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the limitations of this is obviously you can get an idea where do I have problems with conversion rates, so I should optimize my listing and really get this one right. Where do I have problems with my click-through rate, which is most cases images or video assets? Where should I really invest at getting better quality? And CPC, which normally means that you're not good in bidding and or targeting, so you really want to get your PPC campaigns more optimized. So these are the main things you can see here. But all of this does not matter if your PPC performance, and this basically means like the account, the foundations of your PPC performance, if they are not right. And the foundations of your PPC performance is the account structure. And one of the things that we tend to see in the Amazon PPC space is that so many brands, agencies, sellers, vendors out there, they fail on these metrics because their account structure is already in a very, 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 let's say, not good and healthy way. And how do we analyze that? We also looked at the data here. Again, we had like this big, massive data set. And this time we actually looked at the best performers. So we looked at a big sample size of different campaigns and accounts that have a good number of sales and a good ACoS, right? So a lot of revenue, good ACoS. That's a high performing PPC. And we looked at the account structures. We looked at what do they do versus other people that tend to fail or basically have much worse performance. And what we have figured out is that there are pretty much three ratios, right? Three ratios which really matter, that in the end have a significant impact on your performance. So the first one looks at the number of ad groups per campaign, very important metric. Second one is the number of products that you target in any given ad group, right? So do you just promote one product or do you promote 20? And the third one is how many keywords or generally targets do you have in any given ad group? So we looked at these three ratios, we checked the benchmark, and then we basically compare your averages, right? So you will see here your data of your account. We compare your performance versus these benchmarks, and you will see here how you basically fit in. And if you go also with the mouse over that, you will also see the exact explanation why it actually makes sense to have these number of ad groups per campaign, or these number of ASINs per ad group, or these numbers of keywords per ad group. There's lots of good scientific reasons. If you want to learn more about that, you'll also find all the information in the benchmarker. But this is just really to help you here to get a very quick understanding. Should you really focus probably first on getting your account right?
And then, Thomas, which category is this based on? Because we have a category benchmark there.
Yeah, that's a little bit misleading, the term category, right? Because the category is actually the best performing sellers category, right? So because we actually did the math, we compared the performance across all of these categories, and what we have seen that there's not such a big difference, right? So it does not matter so much if you actually sell shoes, t-shirts, or tables, right? When it really comes to account structures, what makes a difference is if you're a very good performer or a not so good performer on Amazon. So the benchmark here is basically comparing you, this is your data, with the best performers, the best 20% that are actually active within this $2.5 billion of revenue.
Well, so in my opinion, that's almost more valuable because it's comparing you to like the top 20% of sellers then.
Exactly.
Which that's awesome. So, okay, very cool. And then this benchmark is totally free. If you guys, I did notice that Abdul was asking what it is. Well, I think we've covered that, but where to get it, check the description below. You guys can go through there and get it totally free. I'll also put it in the pinned comment after this. And so, Thomas, this is something that's come up a few times because I did do a video on the benchmarker before, and this is free. People see a lot of value in it. And even between paid tools, I think it's one of the best, explanations and in simple terms. But say someone uses this with you over a few months and they want to take it further. They see the value in what you guys do and they want to get more help with you. Do you offer anything like that? And where could people find that?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, the benchmark is for free. And it's one of the questions which, I think I get all the time, like, why the hell are you guys doing this for free? This is incredible value and you just, give it out for free. And the reason is that we actually think that this is just something which can help the full community, the full industry to really understand what should I focus on, right? It doesn't solve your problems, right? It just helps you to understand what you should focus on and how good or bad you're doing. So what we are doing now is also to provide you, if you're interested of then fixing these issues, right? So let's assume you have no problems with CPC, you have problems with click-through rate, you have problems with conversion rate, you want to grow your sales. Sellics actually has a very, very cool set of things that we can do in order to really help you. So the first thing is you can obviously get the software. So if you want to get the software and you get the benchmarker, there will be a click here, right? You can just open up here, this button. You can click start a free trial. You will get access to the software 14 days for free. And you will see the full thing, right? Which looks like this. So there are then thousands of more functions. There's a lot of stuff around automated rules, AI, custom rules, all of this. So if you're an experienced marketer, you can basically just use the software, do all the stuff yourself. This is the most powerful software in the market. If you already know what you do, then this might be the best way for go. If you, however, right, say, yeah, I'm not a full-time marketer, right? I mean, this looks nice and amazing, but, I probably need some guidance. Then what we're doing right now, as soon as you will actually get the benchmarker, there will be also a button here, right, which is called book a call. You can just book a call. We have now a new consultant offering, which essentially means that you will get a PPC advisor that will actually help you in every month, right, to do the optimization with you. So that's a new offering which we're actually starting this month. So you also just within the benchmark, you can click on it. And not only will you get the software, you will also get an advisor, a PPC advisor that will help you. And you'll also get access very soon to the premium benchmarker version, which we're also already working on, right, which will also add another very cool features into this one. And the last and the third option is for any one of you that actually also doesn't want to do anything, right? PPC is nice, it's interesting. I probably tried to optimize it. I even probably tried the rules. I even probably tried to work with an advisor or with a virtual assistant. But in fact, I don't want to deal with it at all. I don't want to deal with it at all. It's too complicated. I want to focus on my product. I want to focus on my beautiful A+ content. I want to focus on my general business and not so much on PPC. Then we also have a new solution for you, and this is the managed service solution. So we just launched last week, in fact, the option that you also, if you book a call, you'll get the opportunity that we do everything for you, right? So we have a PPC expert team that based on the insights, they will talk about your goals, they will talk about your performance, and they will tell you how it will work. But basically what Sellics can do, they can do the full automation for you. They will use the software, they will create the campaigns, they will do the reporting, so you don't need to worry about anything. So that's also an option. So these are basically the three ways. You do everything yourself, you get an advisor, or Sellics does it all for you. You can basically choose whatever fits most to your business needs.
Excellent. And Thomas, the last thing is you've worked on this a lot. You've worked with a lot of sellers on PPC ads. It is a very difficult thing to optimize. It's different for different markets and products. It's confusing. Probably the most confusing part of the business model. And so if you could take everything you've learned, all the experiences, building software for this, and give the viewers one last piece of advice regarding PPC, what would that be?
I think my biggest advice is take PPC incredibly seriously. Right, I think I've started my own business on Amazon almost 10 years ago, right? And I'm just now jumping into Amazon. And, I just actually wanted to buy, because it's getting very hot, I'm here in Berlin in Germany, and I wanted to buy one of these beautiful umbrellas, right? Shadow umbrellas. And what you will see here, I think, is already tells you everything. I'm searching for this now. This is a live search. This is sponsored brands, right? Just ads. All the 4 things here are sponsored products, right? So you will see here, this is an ad, this is an ad, this is an ad, this is an ad. So if you have an amazing product, right? If you have an amazing product and it's great, in the past, this was fine. You could be successful on Amazon. But nowadays, right, for most competitive products, it's impossible to get any significant eye attention if you're not mastering PPC, right? Even if you have the best organic result, people need to scroll to find you. So one of the real things that I can give literally everyone one here on the show as an advice is PPC is here to stay. It gets more complicated literally every day. And while in the past it was a nice to have, it's nowadays an absolute requirement to be great and amazing in Amazon PPC if you want to be successful. That's my personal opinion. And if you do it yourself, if you get some help, or if you basically take an agency or the managed services of Sellics, it doesn't matter. But please take this topic seriously, because what we have seen that all of the sellers that are not taking this seriously, they actually belong to the 90% that start selling and stop within 12 months because they were not able to figure out how PPC really works.
I agree. And I think it's a powerful thing to come in from, a lot like myself and a lot of people on the channel. When you're actively selling, you get kind of stuck in the zone and you're not seeing it as a consumer. So when you show that page, it actually is a really good thing because we're looking at the page as a consumer and all 6 results are sponsored. Like this is what comes up as soon as a customer goes to buy. So, and the customer doesn't care if it's sponsored or not. They're just looking to buy. So I think it's really powerful to take a bird's eye view and understand Amazon's expanding its ads. They're all over the place. So if you're not in those, which are the best spots, the highest converting spots, it's going to be very difficult to compete. And that's why you see even the most solidified products, well-ranking products, they're still running ads. And the last thing I will just add to that is PPC is pretty nuanced. It's a strange beast. If you run ads on a keyword for a long time, at the beginning, they're like more expensive. And over time, you actually end up paying like a little more for that same keyword. It's like a strange thing. And I'm not sure if it's algorithm based or even true, but I've noticed that you'll get placement for less cost almost the longer. And then, there's kind of the conspiracy theories of just like with YouTube, if you don't monetize a video, they don't want to show it because it doesn't have ads, they can't make money. Is that the same with Amazon and products? If it's not sponsored, they can't make money. Are they going to show it up as much, even organically? So I totally agree with you. I think it's something you do need to run. You need to be quite aggressive in the beginning. You need to filter down those results. And if you're struggling, I really recommend you check out Sellics. I mean, this is free. You can check it out in the description below or the pinned comment. But Thomas, I want to keep this short and snappy. I think you really gave a good explanation today. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I did see some questions here. First of all, is this kind of global, Thomas? Saif, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says, is Sellics tool good for India? So does it serve multiple markets?
India is actually okay. Yeah, so India, we have enough data for India. So we cover right now 8 marketplaces. There are 18 in total, right? So Amazon is active. Oh no, we have 9, but Amazon is active for 18. So we don't have, for example, Japan, right? So Japan is not covered, for example. But all of the European ones are covered. US is covered. Canada is covered. Mexico is covered. India is covered. So if you're in any of these 9, then we have enough data. And we're also working on expanding here as well.
Excellent. Well, we will wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining live. Thank you very much, Thomas, for making the time. And thank you for making it free. I think that's really cool. And guys, definitely use it. This is an awesome, awesome tool. It's really high quality. Don't make the mistake of thinking, oh, it's free, how good can it be? It's really, really good. So Thomas, thank you again for your time, and we will close up. Thank you everyone who watched and joined us live, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye guys.